Hello, beautiful sisters. This is Suzette Winona Summers, creator of the Journey Back to Your Sacred Wild Self. And, my hair is crazy, isn't it? I just wanted to come on and talk about forgiveness. I know there has been quite a bit of discussion in the group today about forgiveness and some confusion about what forgiveness is and resistance to the idea of forgiveness. So I want to kind of go over that a little bit. If you hop on and you have any questions while I'm in this live, just post them underneath and let me know you're here so that we can have a discussion about it. Because I know lots of you had some questions. So first of all, I want to just say forgiveness is not something that you, gosh, I wish I could, there you go. Forgiveness is not something that you do for someone else. It really is something that you're doing for yourself. And I know the idea is, I think where people get hung up, we think that it's actually a gift to someone else to forgive them, but really what it's doing is it's setting us free, because when we are not forgiving, we are holding on to the past. And in that holding on to the past, we're reliving the past. We are blaming somebody for our present. And so that's not really, we may have suffered really hard things, right? But our present situation, our life now, really is our responsibility. It's our responsibility. We've been wounded, and I know there was a meme that several people responded to that I posted a few days ago about our wounds probably are not our fault, but our healing is our responsibility. And the only time we can take responsibility for that healing is right now. If we're holding on to the past, then we're keeping ourselves locked in bondage to something that happened a long time ago. And that's hurting us. I see somebody hopped on. If you're on, somebody hopped off. There's I've shared this before too. There's a saying that says, resentments burn the container within which they are held. And what that means is when we're holding on to resentments and anger and blame of somebody else, we're really hurting ourselves. Hi, Lisa. And in order to come into this present moment and allow the healing to happen, it is imperative that we let go. And I also want to be clear that I understand that we've had things happen to us in the past, and we may be angry and we may be hurt and we may be sad. And I want to really encourage you to feel those feelings. They are real, and it's energy that has to move through our system. We've talked about that in here too. We need to really process those things. If you're angry, yell into a pillow. Get into that anger. Don't push it down. I'm not telling you to pretend like it never happened. I'm not telling you to not be present with it, because if it's real for you and it's alive in your body, you need to acknowledge it. You need to move that. You need to move that energy. If it's tears, if you are sad and heartbroken, cry. If you need somebody to hold space for you, find someone trusting to hold space for you, but make sure you get to move that energy. I know a woman that I know, she would have parties where she'd get old china, and she'd have women come over, and she'd have a place in her backyard where she'd just break things, and women were encouraged to come over and break things. We need to get that energy out. If you need to yell in a pillow, if you need to hit like your bed, you need to move that energy. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to laugh, laugh. Like if it's funny to you, just move the energy. Whatever is needed, you need to move the energy. And finally, the last thing is, by holding on to the past, by locking yourself away in the past, and by refusing to forgive or to come into the present and leave the past behind, what is your payoff? I want you to really, what do you get by holding that onto that past experience? Is it benefiting you now? Anything that we hold on to and we are like continually going back to it, for some reason, there is something of a payoff. I know when I was refusing to, in my marriage, when I was married, I was so angry at him, and I didn't want to get a divorce, and I was so angry, and I was holding on to everything he did in the past because I wanted him to feel guilty so he never did it again. And that was what I was holding on to. And it didn't allow anything to change, and it kept me miserable because I kept replaying the situations over and over again. And so now, here's the other thing. Now there are things, there's part of me that's sad that my children didn't get to have the life that I dreamed and would love for them to have, with a dad that was healthy and happy and whole. There's that. But at the same time, today, I have compassion for him, and I understand that he's working through his own issues and dealing with his own baggage and his own wounds. And he came into this relationship wounded. And the thing is, I came into this relationship wounded too. We were both two wounded people, and we were attracted to each other for a reason, because his wounds matched up with my wounds, and we were just kind of triggering each other over and over again. And so, really reflect on that. Really consider that over the next few days. What is your payoff if you're having a really hard time forgiving somebody? And I'm going to rephrase that again. If you are having a hard time letting go of the past, because forgiveness is about you, not the other person. They're dealing with their own thing. When you forgive, you're doing it for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it sets you free into this present moment where you can raise your vibration, where you can take control and responsibility for your life and choose differently. Sometimes it's scary to choose differently, and if we hold on to the past as a reason why we're not living to our potential today, it keeps us from taking risks. It keeps us from having to stretch those courageous muscles. Just something to think about. I know some of that may not be popular. It may strike a chord, but if it does, reflect on that and see what part of it, if any of it, is true for you. We are strong warrior women, and we are daily, through reflecting on ourselves and our hearts and what we've dealt with, we are becoming stronger and more powerful and more empowered, so that we can empower others, and we can hold space for our children in ways that are fantastic and empowering and encouraging. And we can really shift the vibration of this planet, and we can create change throughout this world. So I love talking to you all. My blessing, my prayer for you all is that you really get to experience what it is like to forgive and release the past and come into the present and move those energies so that you have a happy, vibrant, loving life. If you'd like to learn more about any of this, or how to let go of that fear and step into your empowerment, private message me. Wishing you all joy and peace and love. Have a beautiful day. Bye.